Hello, everyone. Commissioner Gordon, we are still waiting. I don't see any of the other commissioners yet. No other commissioners yet. Oh, wait a minute. There's one. There's Commissioner Cook. Good evening, Commissioner Cook.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so far just Commissioner Gordon and Commissioner Cook are here.
Do we have phone numbers of the other commissioners?
I believe we do have their personal cells. I can go try to track those down from their applications. Would you like me to call them?
I think it would be a good idea.
Okay, I sent them emails and reminders, so let me go track those down. I'll be back, call them.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobby. We've got Derek.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Derek. How are you?
Hi,
Doing
Derek.
all right.
Good.
Good evening.
Commissioners, apologies. I have called the other commissioners and left voice messages. They all rang several times and went to voicemail.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Bobby. Right now, we did not have a quorum, so
Let's see,
Yes.
1, 2, 3. We need
Need
at least one more, right?
we need one more.
Okay.
Right, Craig's on vacation, I believe, so we need James or
Omar.
Omar, correct?
I'll keep trying them, commissioners.
Thanks,
Thank
Robert.
you.
The other thing is we're short one, so there's only really 6 of us on the commission at present.
With Craig gone, that means only 2 others, James or Omar. Well, I think I will take this opportunity to welcome everybody to the Independent Redistricting Commission meeting. We do have translation is available. Raina will be our translator, and Raynar, if you want to explain how that process works.
Ok. Buenas tardes o buenas noches. Las personas que deseen los servicios de traducción pueden accesar la traducción a través de en la parte superior de la página web usando la palabra inglés. Pueden ahí traducirla a varios idiomas. Eso es para ver la agenda. Y bueno, esta reunión brindará oportunidades para comentarios públicos por medio de la aplicación de Zoom. Si usted quiere indicar su deseo de hablar sobre un tema en particular, debe de levantar la mano haciendo clic en el icono correspondiente en la aplicación de Zoom o presionando estrella 9 si accede a la reunión por teléfono. Cuando usted elija servicios de interpretación en la parte de abajo, usted va a escuchar en español, solamente hay en español en este caso, y me escucharán a mí en un canal separado. Entonces no van a escuchar la presentación en inglés. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Raina. At this time, it is 6:39, so I think I will call the meeting to order. I do believe we do have a quorum present, but let's take a roll call to make sure. Bobby?
Commissioner or Chair Commissioner Gordon,
Present?
Vice Chair Commissioner Hilliard,
Present.
Commissioner Cook,
Here.
Commissioner Butler, Commissioner Talua,
Present.
and Commissioner Lazzaretti. Okay, so we have 4 commissioners present and 2 that are absent.
Thank you, Bobby. Moving on to item 3 of our agenda, approval of the agenda. For commissioners, if you'd like to and have reviewed the agenda, if there's any questions, concerns, or changes you would like to make at this time, now is the time. We're moving the agenda around. Any of the items, if you want to move around, now is the time to do that. If not, I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Richie has made a motion. I need a second.
I second that.
Derek has made a second. I think we need a roll call to pass the approval. Bobby?
Chair Gordon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Hilliard,
Aye.
Commissioner Cook,
Aye.
and Commissioner Talua.
aye,
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, Bobby. Moving on to item 4, this is our public comment period. This is for items not already on our agenda. You are allowed 3 minutes, and for items on our agenda, we ask that you do raise your hand for those items, and that you present under the items listed on our agenda. Is there any comment that is not already on our agenda today from the public?
Chair Gordon, I currently see 2 hands raised.
Okay. Bobby, would you mind calling on the 2 hands that are raised?
Yes, give me one quick second to get the timer set up. And we're following 3 minutes, correct?
Correct.
1 second. Okay, Mr. Tom Panis, you should be able to unmute and begin your comments.
Good evening, Redistricting Chair Gordon, members of the commission and district staff. My name's Tom Panis, and I was the president of the WCCUSD board when we finished up the CVRA work and approved the stipulation and judgment. I very much appreciate the work that the commissioners have done to date. I'd like to make a few specific comments for the record. I was very happy to see that after months of inexplicable delay, the stipulation and judgment has finally been made available to the public. Going forward, if there are any other public documents that need to be disclosed and a copy is hard to come by, I would be happy to provide any that I have. The approved stipulation and judgment makes it crystal clear that all ex parte communications with the current board or any of its members must be fully disclosed on the commission's website. At the June 29 meeting of the commission, Mr. Friedman made a statement to the effect that the school board felt strongly that anyone who has sued the district should not be considered as counsel for the redistricting commission. I know that comment did not come from the board I served on, so it must have come from the current board. This ex parte communication, along with all others, needs to be completely, transparently, and promptly disclosed on the Redistricting Commission's website, including whether it was the request of the entire board or, if not, the individual board members who made the request. I know that this commission had nothing to do with the design of the application for serving on this commission. However, it would be very difficult to come up with an application that is more hostile and intimidating to anyone who is not a member of a privileged social or political class. 90 or 95% of the information requested on the application is completely irrelevant to the work of the commission, and therefore I assume it is there only to discourage from applying those people who aren't accordingly privileged. This is very unfortunate, and I hope that this commission, as it winds down its work in the coming months, will design a forum that in the future actually welcomes participation from every member of the community, rather only those with privilege. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Tom. Our next one, Bobby?
Yes, next is Linda Ruiz Lazito. Linda, if you can, if you are able to, you're able to speak, you're unmuted.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you all for volunteering on this commission. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't tell. My goal when I was the plaintiff was to do what I thought was best for the students and families. And there was so much pushback and politicalness and games going on. The district basically agreed to the same terms we offered in April, in March, a year later. was very political. And I'm very worried that this is going on now, that there hasn't been enough outreach to the Latino community. We were told there was outreach in October to the Latina Center. The Latina Center, we had one of the MAP hearings there, and it was the most attended MAP hearing. There were like over 50 people there, and people were very interested. So I called Miriam Wong, the executive director for the Latina Center, and she said there was no outreach done there. Today she got an email from the district with a social media kit and a PDF. And I looked at the date. The PDF was created at this morning around 11 a.m. So the outreach hasn't been very good. Miriam Wong, the executive director for the Latina Center, who I greatly respect and is very involved in the community and a very caring person, has nominated someone for Area 3. So I hope that this is acceptable. The person sounds very qualified. I read their resume. Anyways, I'm here for the commission. If you have any questions, I'm impartial. I could show you any of the documents I have. I hope it continues to be an independent and the district's attorneys aren't so involved because they're not independent. They're paid by the school board, who can be, unfortunately, political and have different motives. Anyways, thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Linda. Is there any more public comment, Bobby?
Chair Gordon, that is the last public comment for this item.
Thank you. I do believe that we do need any of the ex parte or ex parte communications posted on our website. Is there a process for that to take place at this time, Bobby? Do you know?
I believe you guys were to decide that, correct?
Correct.
So I don't think there is a process yet. I know I am not aware of any of those ex parte communications. If there are, if you send them to me, I can make sure they get up on the Redistricting Commission's webpage.
Outstanding, thank you. And I guess we can continue that discussion under regarding the commission's organization and our procedures. I guess we can talk about establishing a procedure for communications under item 6. So moving on with our agendas, because I know people already want to get back to the baseball game. So item 5 is review of the Redistricting Commission's role, purpose, and process in our timeline. Bobby, is there looks like it's there's a page, all right, PowerPoint presentation along with this.
I'm sorry, Chair Gordon, this is item, is this the continued list of qualifications?
So, okay, so I must be looking at, I looked at the agenda I have has review about, so it looks like our last one. So I may be on the wrong agenda. Let me go back to the website and see. What I clicked on incorrectly, I apologize. Agenda is available here. Clicked on that. Yes, it is different, okay. Item 4, discussion and possible action items. Continue the list of qualifications for hiring legal counsel, RFQ, RFP for legal counsel.
Sorry to interrupt, Chair Gordon. Sorry, there was one person that said they had a hand up. I did not see it because I was flipping back and forth between the timer. Would you like to let that person have their public comment, or?
Yes,
Okay.
Before we begin this discussion, let's have all public comment.
Okay, Diana Diaz, you should be able to unmute and talk now. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Diaz. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm a San Paulo resident educator and organizer. I wanted to say that I am glad to see the website was recently updated to include the names of trustee area reps, the Zoom link, and the agenda. I just wish that this information was made available from the very beginning at a much earlier time. And it would also, I would encourage folks to also even add pictures of the folks who represent these areas. That would be really amazing. And I would love it if these meetings were also more accessible and public to community, and to see the space be more centered and invested in the communities that you all serve, so that we are intentionally included in these important conversations and decisions. And I also agree with previous comments made regarding the application being structured to discourage a lot of folks from applying to specific area spaces. So I hope that folks can work together in this space to be more inclusive and open, and to actually encourage community members to take a seat and to make the decisions for their communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna. We'll now move back to our agenda. We are on item 4, discussion and possible action items. A is the continued list of qualifications for hiring legal counsel, or RFQ and RFP for legal counsel. We do have the link then for the updated RFQ, RFP. And I will now be opening that. Is there a presentation with this, Bobby, or?
No, Chair Gordon, there's just the document.
There's just a doc. So I'm going to open this up for commissioner input and questions. And is there anyone who would like to start? I can't see anyone from I can't see my commissioners, so.
Sorry.
There we go. Commissioner Hillard, did you have any comments?
Well, what I'd like to request is just like 5 minutes to skim through it
Okay.
to see if there's anything that jumps out.
Would you like me to read through it completely? Would
That would be
help?
great. You know, we could trade
Okay.
off paragraphs if you get tired.
Great
or
idea.
anything. Okay.
Okay.
And are you, excuse me, Miss Ortiz de Toriel, is anyone, would you like us to read in a manner where that you can translate it, or what's the most effective way for this to be done for you?
Yeah, sorry guys. So she can't hear you because the translation option is, you can't hear her because the translation option is on. But
Okay.
yeah, if you could, break it up into chunks and, just be mindful of how fast you're talking, because
Okay.
she is translating. And Chair Gordon, would you like me to bring it back up on the screen?
Would you please? Thank you. That'd be helpful. I will begin. This is the request for statement of qualifications and proposal to serve as independent legal counsel for the West Contra Costa Unified School District's Independent Redistricting Commission. Under introduction, it reads, the West Contra Costa Unified School District's Independent Redistricting Commission, we will be known as the Commission, is soliciting statements of qualifications and proposals from law firms to serve as special legal counsel, which will be known as legal counsel, for the Commission.
The commission is an independent body tasked with creating trustee areas for the 2022 election for the Board of Education. The commission, authorized by California Elections Code sections 23,000 et sequential, consists of 7 members representing each of the West Contra Costa Unified School District's 5 trustee areas and 2 members who are residents of Contra Costa County but live outside of the district boundaries. The commission was established and is guided by the stipulated judgment from the case of Ruiz Lozito et al. Versus West Contra Costa Unified School District that resulted in the creation of the commission.
This is Richie Cook. Excuse me. I don't have the document in front of me. I'm familiar with the document, but somehow.
It's not coming up on your Zoom.
Yeah.
Bobby has put it up on the Zoom screen and shared it with the meeting. I can send you the link, Richie, to the actual here very quickly. Let's see if I can do this quickly. Let's see if I'm talented enough.
I may have printed it out. Oh, is this the stipulation agreement?
No, the stipulation agreement is different. This is a document that we started last time.
Oh,
we
yeah.
went
Okay.
we went over an example we brought from Santa Barbara, and then we tweaked it with changes to suit our needs.
Yeah, okay.
But it's a good break right now because there is a part in there where we can make a decision at this point in time. It basically has parentheses where it says, consider adding a link to the stipulated judgment from the litigation, and it can be found and have put the link in. And I think that is a good add. So I am in favor of adding the stipulated judgment.
I agree.
I would agree with that too. That's a very important document.
James, how are you feeling about adding the stipulated agreement?
Yes, I agree.
Outstanding. We made it. We've got consensus, and the commission will be adding a link to the stipulated judgment at that point in the final version. Richie, are you ready for us to continue?
Well, I still don't have it up on my screen. I'm sure to do with ignorance with technology, but I have seen the agreement and I'll listen.
Okay, let's see if I can, we'll continue reading on. James, did you have it up in front? Would you like to continue to read, or shall I pick up?
Yeah, I can read the continuation.
Thank you.
Schedule. Submissions are due on date by time. The submissions will be posted on the Commission's website as part of the agenda materials for a Commission meeting in month 2021. Once a firm is selected, a contract will be submitted to the governing board of the West Contra Costa Unified School District for approval.
At this time, do we want to, there's a highlighted place, the date, the time, and the month that we need to set forward. Do we feel that we have that we can fill in the date, time, and month at this point in time? Is there consensus to look for to fill in those highlighted areas? Derek, I see a shake of the head, yes.
Yeah, I think we should definitely fill those in. I guess the question is, how much time do we want to allow submissions? I was thinking 30 days should be sufficient.
30 days, that would put us.
That would be what, August 13th.
August 13th, would that be in time for our first August meeting? Don't think it would. That might be in time for our first August meeting. Well, it depends on what that is. Let's see, look at the date. Here.
There, Gordon, that is August 13th is a Friday. And I believe you guys settled on meeting the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month.
Correct.
So your first meeting in August looks like would be August 10th.
Okay. Could we settle on something like, instead of 30 days, could we settle on something like 21 days, 3 weeks? Think that would be enough appropriate time?
I think we could do that as long as we get, at least 3 applicants.
Agreed. If we don't have enough applicants, if we don't have 3 applicants, we can extend the timeline.
Sure. Yeah, that
Does that
sounds good.
sound agreeable? Is that agreeable, James? So we have consensus. So 3 weeks from when we send this out would be, if
Yeah,
we
when do we-
complete this tonight.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jared.
Oh, no, I was just asking, hopefully we'll complete this tonight. We'll be able to finalize it and then send it out. So,
Exactly. So that should be, put us somewhere in the beginning of August. Let's see what a good date in the beginning of August might be. August 6th is a Friday before ours. It might be too soon. How about Thursday, August 5th? Would that be amenable to the commissioners?
I think so.
that works for me.
Excellent. James?
Yes, it's good.
So we're going to fill in the date as August 5th, Thursday, August 5th, by what time? 4:30 p.m.
Good. Mhm.
Sure, 4:30.
And this will be posted on the commission's web site as part of the agenda materials for the commission meeting in month of August.
Do we just want to put the date there? Because I think Bobby said our first August meeting is on August 10. So
Let's
would
put
that
August
be
10th.
enough time for the submissions to be posted on the website? and
From the 5th
including
to the 10th,
agenda?
that's 5 days. Yes.
Okay, great.
So, moving on to scope of services. Richie, would you, you don't have it in front of you, do you, Richie?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We'll go back. I'll start again, and then Derek, you can follow, and James, you can follow after that.
Sure.
So our scope of services. Okay, I've got some chat. Okay, in our chat, some people have placed the some of the website and things that we need. So Richie, if you want to look in the chat, you could possibly click on one of those and see if it will bring up
Oh,
the,
okay. Thank you.
okay.
Wait a minute here.
So I do have another comment from Genevieve Calloway that she has had her hand up for public comment. And before we agree on a change, we will be asking for public comment. At this time, we're going to get commissioner input. We're going to go through that, and then we will be getting public comment, and then we will bring it back to the commission for the final decisions. So Genevieve, if you can be patient with us while we go through this. We will definitely get to you and get to public comment. Okay, moving on. So our scope of services. Legal counsel shall provide independent legal counsel to the commission, including providing independent legal advice, and helping with setting the agenda and Brown Act compliances when requested from time to time. Under the general direction of the commission, legal counsel shall, and I'm going to hand off to Derek right now.
Serve as the legal advisor for the commission and consultants and staff assigned to the commission. Advise the commission. Oh, go ahead. We're gonna.
Go ahead. No, why don't you read 3 and then
Okay,
we'll
sounds good.
continue with James.
Advise the commission at meetings, public hearings, and other legal proceedings, and also assist in the logistics of setting up all the meetings, public hearings, and proceedings. Ensure that all constitutional, statutory, and regulatory requirements and court decisions governing the commission's activities are properly interpreted, including but not limited to the stipulated judgment, the Ralph M. Brown Act, the Public Records Act, the Elections Code, and the Federal Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Provide legal representation administratively, render written and verbal legal advice, render legal advice regarding policies within the Commission's legal areas of responsibility, if any, ensure that any administrative policies adopted by the Commission are consistent with law and are implemented fairly and impartially.
Thank you. Legal counsel shall ensure that information relating to legal counsel's support of the commission is protected as required by Business Profession Code, Section 6068C. This includes legal counsel's preserving the confidentiality of the information from legal counsel for the West Contra Costa Unified School District, except that legal counsel may communicate with the school district's attorneys as would be appropriate between attorneys who represent opposing parties at arm's length.
Essential knowledge and abilities. Responses must demonstrate the ability to perform high-level analysis of the legal issues associated with administration of the commission, as well as the redistricting process. Such overall ability requires that the primary service provider, as the legal counsel, possess the following:
active membership in the State Bar of California, ability to communicate effectively in writing and in oral presentation with a variety of contexts, including the commissioners, outside attorneys, public officials, the public, press, and staff. Ability to accurately appraise legal problems, perform legal research, and correctly apply legal principles, evidentiary rules, and precedents to propose solutions.
Richie, I see you have a hand up.
Yeah, I can read now.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
Thank you. Well, and now part of it's disappeared. Ability to communicate, oh, that's already been read. Ability to accurately appraise legal problems, perform legal research, and correctly apply legal evidentiary rules and precedents to proposed solutions, ability to write and edit correspondence, pleadings, briefings, talking points, and legal appeals. Ability to represent the commission at meetings, public hearings, and other legal proceedings.
Ability to synthesize, clarify, and disseminate complex information. Thank you. Knowledge of California elections codes. Sections 23000 to 23004 and 21500 to 21509, including as amended by AB 1275, effective January 1, 2021. Sections 21500, section 21508 are the Fair Maps Act criteria for counties. The stipulated judgment incorporates similar language. Knowledge of the Ralph M. Brown Act, Political Reform Act, and Public Records Act requirements, and demonstrated experience and expertise in implementation and enforcement of Federal Voting Rights Act of 1965. I do want to point out, yes, Derek.
I had a couple comments about that past section under essential knowledge and abilities. Would now be the appropriate time to
Now would be
make
the
those
appropriate
comments?
time. Thank you.
Sure. So bullet point 7 for bullet point 7, which begins knowledge of California elections code sections. After sections, I would like to suggest we add sections 14025 14045, because I think those are relevant.
So we have an amendment on the
A proposed
knowledge of
amendment, yeah.
a proposed amendment for the knowledge of California elections code, and it is to add 10425. Is that correct, Derek?
Yes.
To 104, was it 55?
14045.
10405. And do we want to get consensus, or do we want to get all of the amendments out on the table first? one of the things that's tickled my brain is that I believe we have to write not a report, but we have to be able to defend the map in the end. And I don't see us listing that as an ability. Now, it's not necessary that we hire the same person to defend the map, but I think if we're spending the money, I want to use our money wisely. We might want to add that role in there as well and have that part of the bidding process. I don't know how my fellow commissioners feel. What are your thoughts on that? We'll start with Richie this time. Richie, how do you feel?
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea. Ultimately, the product we're going to come up with will be the map. And so it only makes sense that we hire someone who understands the map and its legality.
And can defend it for us.
Mhm.
James?
Yes, I agree.
Derek?
I agree also.
So we will be, it will be on the final discussion for amendments. All right.
One other suggested amendment or change, going
Okay.
back to that same bullet point, which starts off knowledge of California elections code. This, as written, it references AB 1275, and I believe it should be AB 1276.
I was going to say, I'm very familiar with AB 1275. AB 1275 is the higher ed.
Right.
Yeah. So I didn't understand how that, so I believe you're correct. I think it is AB 1276. Because I think AB 1275 is academic freedom for higher ed. So we will be changing that to AB 1276. Let's continue reading through, and then we'll have public comment after that, and then we'll go back and revisit the changes and finalize that. Derek, would you start with the proposal requirements, please?
Sure. Proposal requirements. To assist the commission in selecting legal counsel, please ensure that your proposal includes the following information. Number 1, firm description. Provide a brief description of your firm and qualifications in the area of state and federal laws governing redistricting in California. Indicate the location of your main California office.
James, you want to continue a couple of for 2 and
Number
3?
2, assign personnel. Identify your firm's team for the assignment, specifically identifying the individual who would serve as the overall lead for the engagement and primary service provider in the legal counsel role. Include only those persons who are actually expected to work on the engagement. Provide resumes for each participating team members, highlighting relevant experience to meet essential knowledge and abilities. 3, experience. Briefly describe the firm's experience as legal counsel in California for local government entities or states related to state and federal laws governing redistricting and voter rights. Indicate where the proposed primary service provider contributes to the firm's experience.
Would you continue on?
Additional information. Please confirm that your firm done a conflicts check and does not have any potential conflicts of interest. For example, potential conflicts of interest shall include, but not be limited to, representing, contracting with, or providing legal advice to the West Contra Costa Unified School District. Also, please review Elections Code Section 23003 and confirm that anyone assigned to provide services under the contract would not be disqualified under Elections Code Section 23003. 5. Fees. Please indicate your firm's fees for the legal counsel role. To the extent hourly fees are proposed, please include an estimate of the total fee and/or expected range, and not to exceed amount. Also, please indicate what expenses you would bill in addition to the fee and a proposed cap. 6. Form contract. A form of contract is attached. If your firm has any proposed changes to the contract, please identify them as part of your firm's response. Alternative option. Please propose a form of contract with your proposal.
Rena, are we ready? We ready to move on? So submission. Now again comes some decisions. They're highlighted in yellow. Please provide your proposal by email to Redistricting Commission at WCCUSD.net. No later than the date by a certain time.
And I'm guessing that would be the same deadline that we have for that we have on page 1, August 5, 2021 by 4:30 p.m.
Exactly, I agree.
Good.
Yep, I see 5 shakes of the head, yes. Or 4 shakes of the head, yes. I am wondering about the email submission. That is not any of the commissioners. It is, I believe, going to Bobby. Do we want to send these to our vice commissioner perhaps, or are we comfortable sending it to Bobby and Bobby can pass them on?
I'm comfortable with inserting my email address in there, my commission email address. Then any applications I receive, I would forward to Bobby and to the rest of the commissioners.
Outstanding. Thank
Okay.
you for volunteering, Derek. So we will be amending the email to have Derek Hilliard at WCCUSD.net. We have a chat note that also says, I believe under the form contract, there is a decision for the commissioners to make concerning whether to provide its own form of contract or to have legal counsel applications propose their own form of contracts. What's the pleasure of the commission?
Wasn't that already mentioned? Oh,
It is, but it seems it's an either or proposition. We should choose one or the other. I agree. I read it, Richie, like you did, that we were offering a form, but if they wanted to present their own, that we would also accept those. But I think it would be comparing apples and oranges problem if we did that. I think we need to compare apples to apples in order to make the best decision. So what's the pleasure of the commission? Richie?
yeah, we could get rid of the alternative option. In other words, they have to fill out the form as attached.
I think that will make it easier on us so that we can have we know what the form looks like, we know what to expect, and that we will be able to, like I said, compare apples to apples and make a good decision based on that information provided.
Yeah, I think that would work. And if for some reason we don't get enough applicants, then we could look at perhaps broadening the contract as written by different firms.
Do
But
we have, oh, sorry,
Well-
Commissioner Cook.
go ahead, Derek. I defer to your expertise, by the way.
No, I was going to ask, do we have a copy of the form contract available to review?
That would be a question for Bobby. Bobby, do we have a
It was not attached at this time.
okay. I apologize, we do not have that at this time.
Okay, but there is one.
There is one.
Okay.
Would that weigh on your decision, your final decision?
Well, I was always told, don't agree to a contract until you read it. So.
And I have just been informed that there is no form contract, does not exist at this time.
Okay, in that case, we should probably go with the alternative option
I agree.
and have the firm submit a form of contract with their proposal.
I agree. James, Richie?
Yeah, I would agree to that. Since
Yes.
So the form contract will be the alternative option, which is having them support having them submit a contract of their proposal.
now, I'm a little apprehensive about that, just because we will be dealing with apples and oranges. Is there any, do we have access to any other form that has been sent out by other
I
agents?
can Google and do some research. They're pretty, I can go online and go to any number of districts and look at their agendas and see if they don't have any contracts forms that they use. I know we used one in the community college, so I can research it and bring that back to you. And we kind of may need to make that decision tonight. I think we've gone with the alternative, and what we'll have to do is we'll really have to just
Okay, all right, that's fine.
kind of, yeah, just parse it out and see and check box. Maybe I'll get a metrics together to see if we can check boxes on our conditions and see what they have, and see if we can't make it more apples to apples. But you're right, we will have to wade through all of the
Yeah, I feel comfortable as long as we have a matrix so that we can really compare things accurately.
From my understanding, there are not a lot of law firms that do this, and a lot of them are already involved in, because there are so many other cities, counties that are doing this, that they are busy. So it might be to our benefit to ask them for their proposal. We may find that we get may only get 2 or 3. Again, we'll have to then, I'm gonna take a breath and let Raina get caught up. And at that time, if we only have a few submissions, we're going to have a conversation as well about if we want to move forward and look at the few law firms that have applied. But again, it may be to our benefit to allow them to show us the contract that they want, and we can negotiate. We can counter their contracts. There, I got Derek to smile and shake his head.
Yes, yes. As a commission, we can review their terms. We can add anything we want. If there's anything that we don't understand, we can ask them to clarify or propose our own alternatives. You know, that's part of our powers as a commission.
On the other hand, too, this gives us a chance to look at their work. In other words, they're making the proposal. Their proposal, we can see what kind of work they put together and how much thought they've put into the proposal. And if it's looks kind of like they didn't put much time into it, then that will influence our decision.
Yeah, if it's written in crayon, that's an automatic rejection.
Okay.
Excellent points, both of you. That was excellent point. And the disclaimer, I think, James, is it your turn, James? I've lost.
Yes. Disclaimers. It is noted that the Commission reserves the right to reject any and all responses, cancel, modify, or reissue the RFP, negotiate with any, all, or none of the respondents, and solicit best and final offers from any, all, or none of the respondents. This RFP does not commit the Commission to negotiate a contract, nor does it obligate them to pay for any cost incurred in the preparation and submission of your responses or in the anticipation of a contract. The Commission reserves the right to recommend that the West Contra Costa Unified School District Governing Board contract with any of the firm responding to this RFP based on the Commission's judgment in evaluating the firm's proposal, including but not limited to its qualifications, capabilities, and fee quote.
Communications, so that we do not need to post and share responses to questions with proposers. We do not plan to have substantive conversations with proposers. Thank you in advance for your participation in this process.
Excellent. At this time, are there any other input from commissioners? Any questions, comments, concerns? And then if there are none, I will be opening it up for public comment at this time. Seeing none, I will be taking public comment. Bobby, are there any hands up? I see Tom.
Yes, Chair Gordon, there are two hands. Hang on one sec. I see two hands, yes, I see two hands raised. Quick second.
All right. Derek, I see your hand is up as well. Since you're a commissioner, I will start with you. Is that a, okay. Tom, I see your hand up. Why don't we start with you?
Mr. Panis, can you try unmuting?
Thank you, Chair Gordon, and good evening again, commissioners. On page 1, it suggests that you're going to submit this contract to the WCCUSD board for approval. I cannot fathom why you would do this. This is a contract for you. It's supposed to be an attorney who serves you. This money comes out of your budget. I just don't know why you will be submitting this to the board. And then again, on page 4, we just heard that the board seems to have, the WCCUSD board has some approval power or something about this. That just seems really off base to me. Regarding selecting an attorney, Mr. Friedman stated at the last meeting, the preference of the current board is this person not have previously sued the district. You need a no-nonsense attorney who's not afraid to stand up to the district, not a cream puff. I would suggest that having previously sued the district is a positive, not a negative factor in anyone's analysis of an application. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I know Genoveva, who was on before and wanted to speak. Is she still present, or did we?
Yes, no, Genoveva is still here, and she is actually the next speaker.
Awesome.
Genoveva, can you try to unmute?
I just did. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners, for your work. And my comment was in the second paragraph where it said something like the boundaries are going to be for the 2022 elections, but they're going to be for the next 10 years, not just for the 2022, because these boundaries are going to be set for 10 years until the next census. Am I correct?
Correct.
So I'm just saying, add that. The first ones will be elections in 2022, but then after that is for 10 years. That's my only suggestion or addition.
Thank you, Genoveva.
You're welcome.
Is there any other public comment at this time?
Chair Gordon, I do not see any other hands raised.
Okay, well, I'm going to bring it back for the commissioner's final changes and possible adoption of this contract. We did have several amendments, and I can restate them again if needed. Is that necessary? Why don't we do it anyway?
Yeah.
There was a change of AB 275 to 276. There was an add of election codes 10425 to 10405. Did I say that correctly? Because it seems to have gone, I think I said that
excuse me, it would be sections 14025
14025
to 14045.
Thank you. So we will add election codes 14025 to 14045, correct?
Correct. And then I think we added, it was going to be AB 1276 instead of
Correct.
127.
We also were going to add one of the responsibilities to possibly write the final defense of the maps. That will be included. And commissioners, I don't think we can put a no nonsense clause in there, although I think we agree with Mr. Panis. I do think this Henaveba, the second paragraph with 2022 and the subsequent elections there after that would be a good add. Is there consensus on that, to add that language?
Could you repeat that?
So let me read this. So the commission is an independent body tasked with creating trustee areas for the 2022 election for the Board of Education. And I think we want to say for the trustee area for the 2022 election and subsequent elections
Okay. Mhm.
for the Board of Education.
Yes.
Is that an agreeable amendment for the board? Like 1, 2, 3. James?
Agreeable.
Maybe add until the next census.
Until the
result.
next census, yeah. So we'll add that language too. Good catch, James. So subsequent elections until the next census. Richie?
Yeah, I wanted to respond to Tom Panis's remark about our selection going through the school board. And we're completely independent. I mean, our funding is going to come from the school board, but ultimately we will be making the decision about choosing the legal counsel. Did I miss something or?
No, and I think it's confusing. And I think what happens is that because the Board of Education or the school board has to have the final say on all budgeted items, no matter what we do. It's just state California law. They do have a little bit of say with the budget things that we have. So I don't believe they have a say in who we hire. I don't think they can cancel it, but it will have to go to them for final approval, I believe, is the process. And I would be quite shocked and surprised if it would be a little bit, as Tom pointed out, maybe a little bit political if they turned us down. I don't see the West Contra Costa doing that, as we are their commission and it's in the stipulated agreement that we would be independent.
Okay.
So, but I do see the confusion and I do understand that, but in my 23 years, the final decision of budget things, it just has to go through the board in which holds the purse strings. And many times when things come to us as board members, they are pre-decided and we are just the final stamp to put the approval and we really don't have much power or say over it. We just have to say, yes, this money is going towards the Redistricting Commission. Yes, it's going to their attorney, or yes, it's going for outreach. So that's kind of their role with this.
Thank you for the clarification. And as far as the us somehow ending up with a powder puff lawyer that's not going to I'm not sure. You know, I've never hired a lawyer. I've got very little legal expertise except for parking tickets. So I just don't know how that has any influence, or does it have influence?
When we get the applications, we'll be able to dive a little bit further. We'll have the firm's background. You will be able to Google and research them and see what kind of law and you'll be able to research them at that time.
Good.
And so I would say he's giving us a piece of advice to take with us when we do that final decision making.
Thank you.
I hope I'm not putting words into people's mouth. I hope I'm clarifying. At this time, it is a possible action item. Is there consensus to move the contract as amended so we can get it posted and get the process to hire legal counsel up and running? Is there consensus? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the majority, and that's the unanimous. So I need a motion at this time and a second for us to move and finalize the RFP as amended.
I move that we accept the RFP as amended.
I have a motion from Richie
A second.
and a second from James. Can we do a roll call vote, Bobby?
Yes. Chair Gordon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Hilliard,
Aye.
Commissioner Cook,
Aye.
and Commissioner Talua.
Aye.
4-0, Commissioner Gordon.
Thank you. Moving on to our next agenda item. Now I've lost my agenda. Oh, no, it's on here. It is. Sorry about that.
Chair Gordon, I've put it up on the screen.
Thank you. Moving on to item C, establishing, item B, an RFQ and RFP for demographer. So we need to start this process. We can do the same thing that we did for our legal counsel. We can look for, I didn't look and research this one. I think with the information, the census information not ready until October, we may have a little more time on this one, but not much. Or what we've done in here on public meetings, we could put in a subcommittee of 2 or 3 commissioners. And so I've brought that forward for discussion and possible decisions on how to move forward with the RFQ and RFP for demographer. What is the pleasure of the commissioners? Richie?
Well, I would hope that Derek could take the lead on this. I'm not trying to put more on his plate. It's just that I think he's definitely more qualified than I am as far as putting together a contract. I mean, I just can't do it.
Right. In terms of, are you focused more on preparing the RFP for a demographer?
Yes.
Well, I think, yeah, we would do them kind of together like we did with the RFP and RFQ for the legal advice. And I'd be willing to volunteer and help you, Derek, if you want to.
Sure, that works. Yeah, we can work on it
that?
together. Yeah, I can take
Okay.
the lead on that. And, thank goodness for the internet, because there are a
Yep.
lot of samples
Yep.
out there, and it's just a matter of taking what we need and shaping it to our needs and putting it out there.
Good.
I just found one from the city of Redwood City. So
That's what I did. I
but it's
just started
21
Googling.
pages. I think we want something a little more concise. But Vicky and I can work on it and try to get something to the board. How much time do we need to?
We can get it to the next board, or we can get it into the 2 meetings from now, or 3 meetings from now, sometime in August. I think we can. I think we'll do it as your schedule allows, Derek. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Awesome. So moving on to our next item, Bobby. Oops,
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Oops, I'm sorry. I forgot public comment on that. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, just real quick, Chair Gordon. In terms of the previous item, who is going to be making those edits? Would you like me to do it, or will one of you do that?
I'm sorry, Bobby, but yes, we would like you to do it. We're
Gotcha,
not
gotcha.
up and running completely independently, and I have been advised that we can depend on you until we are up and running completely independently. So I appreciate that.
You do have one hand raised.
Yes. And so I will be taking public comment at this time, and oops. The hand is that Genoveva? I'm not showing it. Or is that Tom? Oh,
Jonathan Barry Smith.
Jonathan Barry Smith.
Jonathan, can you try to you should be able to.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. I just wanted to add that demographers are running low on capacity. There's been a really high demand for them, especially this year, given this is probably the first time in California history that so many public agencies are currently being elected by trustee area, which means that they're all going through this redistricting process at the beginning of next year. And so it might be a good idea for the commission to consider trying to get a demographer on hand in advance of the 2020 census data being released. Just because from my experience at the law firm, it's very difficult at this moment to get demographers that have capacity. So I believe the earlier the commission gets on this, the better. And
Thank you, Mr. That makes sense.
Do as you may. I just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, thanks for all that you're doing. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. That makes sense. That's exactly what I've heard with attorneys. So we might be working on that sooner than later, Derek. So
Very good point from Mr. Barry Smith.
any other public comment on this item before we move on?
Chair Gordon, that was the only hand that I saw raised.
Awesome. So moving on to our next item. Okay, why do I keep pulling up the wrong agenda? Establishing a policy procedure for ex parte communications. We have a stipulated judgment that has been provided to all of you. One of the issues in that is how do we deal with ex parte communications. And at this time, I have not brought forward a policy that I've found on the internet. And again, this might be best done by a subcommittee and brought back at our next meeting. What is the pleasure of the commissioners at this time? We can put it on our agenda for next time and work a policy out as a whole, or we can put it in a subcommittee and have it brought back to us.
Judge Stelton addressed this, and he says that he doesn't have any power to stop ex parte communications. And his suggestion was that we make some ground rules. But won't those have to be agreed to by both parties?
Maybe we can ask Jonathan Barry Smith if he knows the answer to that. Jonathan, if we make some ground rules for ex parte communications, will both sides of the plaintiff and the defendant, or the will they have to agree? Will the getting tongue tied here, sorry. Will the West Contra Costa Unified School District and the plaintiff have to agree on the rules, or are we setting the rules and independently setting them? Do you know, Mr. Barry Smith?
So I'm not 100% sure on that front. It would appear that any change to the stipulated judgment would require both parties. However, I believe that there's a slight difference between that and the language in the stipulated judgment about the communications that the commission is supposed to, put forth a procedure to post online. I think it might be informative to go to the stipulated judgment, maybe look at what the language says, which I believe is the second sentence of the fourth paragraph of Exhibit D, for anyone who wants to look at it. But an ex parte communication, from my understanding, is it wouldn't occur at a public meeting. Ex parte means one-sided. And so if anything, I think it might be helpful for the commission to determine what ex parte communication means, what the stipulated judgment says, and then see what it can do on that front. But I just don't want to provide false information when I'm not 100% sure of what the answer is.
Right. So my understanding from the stipulated agreement is it's a very concentrated reporting, in that if there's any direct or indirect communications with West Contra Costa board members, that we need to put it in writing and have it posted to the web's page, is what I recall. And please correct me if I've misstated it or if I've left anything out. And Mr. Jonathan Barry Smith has said the language in the stipulated judgment is located at the second sentence of paragraph 4 of Exhibit D for anyone who wants to review it. And I used to have that stipulation up.
I have it up.
Do you have it up? Would you read it
Yes.
for us, Derek? Thank you.
Sure. Exhibit D from the stipulated agreement, paragraph 4, it's on page 2, and it reads as follows. The commission shall conduct an open and transparent process that ensures full and meaningful public participation. The commission shall adopt procedures sufficient to ensure that any communication it receives directly or indirectly from incumbent trustees is reduced to writing and posted on the internet. The commission shall provide public notice of and hold 5 public hearings, 1 in each current trustee area, at which all residents will have equal opportunity to comment on the drawing of district lines. The commission shall make every reasonable effort to afford maximum public access to its proceedings, setting times and locations that assure accessibility to members of protected classes. Notice of and translation services at each public hearing shall be provided in Spanish.
So if I understand this correctly, it's all communications relating to redistricting that we receive should be placed in a public forum.
I think it's a little more concentrated than that. I think the main, well, all of our work should be done in public. We can do subcommittees to bring suggestions back, but the final work will be done as a whole commission. But I think the ex parte communication is basically, the biggest piece of that will be that we will adopt procedures sufficient to ensure that any communication it receives directly or indirectly from incumbent trustees is reduced to writing and posted on the internet. I think that is the procedure we need to discuss at this time. That is, we need to say that if we do have direct or indirect contact from incumbent trustees, we will need to then have that reduced to writing and posted on our webpage. And I believe that Mr. Panis has made a point earlier today, stating that at our last board meeting, there was a comment from Harold about the board members, Walnut Creek, the West Contra Costa board members, and a desire that they had. And I think at this time, the stipulated agreement makes it incumbent upon us to get that reduced to writing and posted on our webpage. And I do have a hand or comments from, I thought I had a hand up. Bobby, do we have a hand up at this time?
Yes, Mr. Panis has his hand raised.
Okay. So at this time, I will open it up. If there are no questions or comments further from commissioners, I will open it up to the public for comments. Seeing none. Tom?
Thank you very much, commissioners, for your conversation about this. It's very important. And I think it's really important. For example, we don't know when Mr. Friedman made the statement last month, if it was the entire board or individual board members. So I think part of this disclosure needs to be, where the comment came from with as much precision as possible. Also, unfortunately, the chat from these meetings is not publicly posted, and that comment happened in the chat. So I don't know if it's exactly on target here for you to suggest that we have the chat posted publicly, because everything that people say, including private conversations in a Zoom meeting, are recorded in the chat and need to be displayed as part of the meeting transcript. So commissioners, thank you for your conversation about this. It's a very important subject.
Thank you, Tom. Comments from commissioners? I think to be transparent and to be overly transparent or overly cautious, I agree that perhaps we should have our public chat. I think you can copy and paste it, and I think we should have that posted to our webpage. That's my feelings on the item. How are you feeling about it, Derek?
I'm okay with that. I think that you have done a good job of identifying comments in the chat and speaking up on them, saying who made the comment, and then asking for that person to make a public comment. I don't know what the logistics would be for us to copy and paste the dialogue in a chat box, but if when something is entered in the chat box, if one of the commissioners could just say, oh, it looks like there's a comment, here's what it says, here's who it's from, then it would be on the record since this is being recorded. That's just an alternative suggestion. But going back to the original point, I think paragraph 4 of Exhibit D lays it out nice and concisely about ex parte communication that we receive directly or indirectly from incumbent trustees should be reduced to writing and then posted on our website. So if we happen to bump into someone at the supermarket and they want to talk district business, I mean, we have to memorialize it and then post it. But I think it's very specific that it relates to communication with trustees. So that's my 2 cents. Either directly or indirectly, I think is my catch.
And I think that I think we can probably say that Harold's comment in the chat about what the West Contra Costa Unified School District Board wanted needs to be reduced to writing and needs to be posted on our website. I think that's pretty clear. Am I out there on my own, or am I hearing consensus on reading that the same way? I've got a thumbs up from Richie. I've got a nod from Derek, James, and a nod from Derek. So we are going to request as a commission that that statement be reduced to writing. Whether Bobby, you can find it, or if somebody else can find it for us, or we can get a synopsis of it, of what we recall, and we will ask that that be reduced to writing and posted on the website.
Can I just ask a clarifying question, Chair Gordon?
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, I was not at the meeting. I did review the recording though. So this happened in the chat, correct? So you, the ask is to take that particular comment from Mr. Friedman and post that to the website. What I've also, would you guys like me to also grab all of the chats from the 2 previous meetings and post those as well too? Or are we just talking that specific comment related to Mr. Freeman?
That's a good question. Commissioners?
Well, being on the safe side, I suppose we should have everything from the chat posted, but I don't know if it's something, I just don't know the logistics of it, so.
Well, Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is available on the hosts. You can go back to the chat and it's still there. Is that correct?
Correct. And previous to this meeting, I've asked our IT department to pull those. So I'm just waiting for them, and they should be able to do that.
So the question is, do we want them to post it all, or just the ones that are that trigger the ex parte communication rule in a stipulated agreement?
You know, my only concern is, I mean, we want to make this as open as possible, and just to be on the safe side, it would make sense to me. But I mean, nothing will probably come of it, but still, it'll be out there. And if someone wants to review what we said a month ago, they can see what happened.
James, your feelings?
Yeah, I agree. If we can upload everything, so we have nothing to hide in case something come up in the future.
Derek?
Yeah, I also agree.
I do too.
Just fiddling around here with Zoom, it looks like down at the bottom of the chat window, there's a small button with 3 dots. And if you click on it, it says save chat.
Right.
So we can do that and then maybe add it as an attachment to the minutes.
So Bobby, I think there's clarification. I think for as open and transparent communication as possible, the commission has unanimously, the majority of us here today have unanimously agreed to post all conversations in the chat onto our website.
Got it, loud and clear.
Thank you. And for further communications, I think we as commissioners will have to take it upon ourselves that if we have direct or indirect communication from incumbent trustees, that we will need to reduce those to writing, and that we will have to submit it to the district or to Bobby and have it posted to the webpage. And that will be our process for dealing with ex parte communications. Is there public comment on this? Yes, Richie.
Just to clarify, does that mean that most or almost all of our communications should be done via email?
Probably, and if you've had them by phone, just write a note down of who and when you talk to it. And in order to, we will post the chat from our other meetings, but as I go forward, since the policy is instated today, we're going to have to make it official and vote on it after I take public comment. But then I would say from this day forward, again, you will then have to record it in a notebook. You could do that and bring it forward, or reduce it to writing what was said, and then have it delivered to Bobby, and then have it posted to our website.
Okay.
Webpage, and then we'll do it on a go forward basis from today, since our policy is going to be set today forward. So, but it is important for us to make sure that, I'm sorry, your background's changing, Derek, and it caught me off guard.
Did he
I
do,
thought I could do a preview of that and then decide if I wanted to change it. Sorry for the distraction.
That's okay. It's comic relief, which is sometimes welcome. But at this time forward, and also any communications via phone, via meeting in a supermarket needs to be taken, written down by commissioners in a notebook, and then reduced to writing what the conversation was about, and handed over to the district and posted on our webpage. So are we in agreement with that process procedure for ex parte communication? Got a thumb up from good. Okay, so now we're going to need a motion to adopt that as our process or procedure. And
Sorry, Chair Gordon, did you want to check for public comment first?
absolutely. Thank you, Bobby. Is there public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commissioners. It is an action item. There is a procedure placed on the floor. Is there a motion?
I move that we follow the procedure outlined as stated as far as ex parte communications.
A second?
A second.
I have a motion from Richie and a second from Derek. Bobby, would you do the roll call vote?
Yeah. Chair Gordon,
Aye.
Vice
Aye.
Chair Hilliard, sorry.
Aye.
Commissioner Cook,
Aye.
and Commissioner Talua.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Awesome. Moving on to our next agenda item.
Thanks.
Future meetings, reports, and updates from commissioners. So our meetings are I believe we have set them for the second and fourth Tuesdays. Our next meeting will be the fourth Tuesday. We have items that we have discussed tonight that will be up there. Are there any reports or comments from commissioners of things you'd like to see on the agenda or things that we need to address? Richie?
I can't think of anything right now.
James?
None.
Derek?
Nothing currently.
Then that moves us on to our last agenda item, which, public comment on that item. I see a hand from Genoveva. Genoveva?
Yes, thank you. The question is, whose responsibility is to announce these meetings to the public and to the different communities, besides just being on the website? Right now, I think that's the only place. I go to the website to get to see the announcement, but it's not coming out through other venues that I usually get, a lot of announcements of meetings. So whose responsibility is that? The commission or staff?
I don't believe the commission has the authority or wherewithal to do that. We don't have the email addresses, but perhaps Jonathan Barry Smith can enlighten us.
I believe that it's sort of up to the commission here, because at this point, you are looking for independent counsel to help out with some of these decisions. But at the moment, you do have district staff available to assist when necessary So you can always ask the district for assistance when it comes to, making sure the agenda is posted, making sure attachments are available, etc. I see no reason why you couldn't also ask the district for help in publicizing. I think just giving the district some direction on that piece for them to follow would be helpful on that.
Thank you, Jonathan.
May I say something still?
Mhm.
I mean, Bobby happens to be in the community engagement and communications department. So that's why I was thinking that, that's usually who I get announcements from, but we haven't been getting any announcements on these meetings. And I understand, it's been kind of like, we're not quite organized. So anyways, I just want to make sure we don't forget that, because otherwise when we do the public forums, or when you guys do the public forums, the community needs to know what's happening. Otherwise, they're not going to
You're
come.
right.
So I'm
You're
just
right,
kind of giving you a heads up. But you might want to
Okay.
put on the agenda your next agenda to just start brainstorming about it.
All right. At this time, though, I would like to see if we could extend Bobby's role and have him do outreach like he would normally do whenever we have our meetings, if he's amenable to it. I always hate putting more work on people's plate, but we don't have the expertise yet. And Bobby, you as Genevieve said, you're an expert in communications. So if we can lean on you and you can support us in getting the information out to more community members, we would greatly appreciate it.
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you.
Great. Quick question, Bobby. Would that also include getting the word out over social media? I know the district has a Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that's
Facebook and
one of our
Twitter and all
tools.
that.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
So we'd like to, is the commission amenable to using all of the tools available to get the meetings out there? I'm seeing thumbs up and
Yes,
shakes of the heads.
100%.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and Bobby, do you need any clarification or any help with that? Just reach out, let me know.
Yeah, definitely. Just one other clarifying question to help some of the publicity. We are second and fourth Tuesdays of each month moving forward. So is it okay if we put out an advanced schedule, like
Absolutely.
August 10th, that kind of thing
Yep,
through,
6:30.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Richie, did you want to say something else?
Yeah, I don't know. Have we decided that we will always meet that second Tuesday? Or is that one where looking at how much work needs to be done, we'll use it or perhaps not? It's beginning to look to me, certainly once we have legal counsel and the demographer, we will be meeting those two twice. What are some of the ideas for next meeting, our next Tuesday?
The next meeting or our next Tuesday seems to be the demographer. It seems to be the next hurdle that we need to really tackle and get that ball rolling, because they are in high demand and their time is being, so I think that's, and it shouldn't be as long a meeting as this. We should be able, if we have if Derek and I are good at our subcommittee group, we should put together something. We'll get that out beforehand. You can look over the whole thing. You can make changes, comments to us, get it back to us. We can, and then we'll be posting it for the public and getting it out there, and public can come and talk about what they'd like to see.
Good.
But then I think that's about all. But I will have future meetings at the end of every meeting. And if there's a meeting that we don't need, I promise you, I will be canceling that meeting. So at the end of it will be a spot for commissioners to ask for agenda items, which this is, and to talk about future meetings, whether we need them or not.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Trying as hard as I can to be respectful of your time.
I think, I've been to public hearings, and then, people put a lot of work into it, and then the community comes in and says, well, how did this ever happen? And I wasn't told. And, I just don't want us to be put in that position. So.
Thank you, I agree.
Vicky, may I say something?
Yes, Senator.
I agree, Richie, and that's why I'm suggesting that the commission maybe, if not next meeting, to put on the agenda to talk about community engagement and outreach. And then if we put that out to the community, they might join the meeting to give us ideas and begin to get partnerships in the community. So when we have the forums, we won't have that. That won't happen. They'll say, well, why did you do this? And why did, but we need to get the community on board now as soon as we can.
That's why this is an agenda item, and I've just written that down, and that will be a future agenda item on our next meeting. Thank you, Genoveva.
You're welcome.
Are there any other comments from commissioners or public comment at this time on our last agenda item?
Quick question, Genoveva. Earlier you mentioned Miriam Wong, the director of the Latino Center. Could you spread the word to her about our next meeting, and maybe we could talk to her about using her community center or some ideas to get the word out to trustee area 3, just so that we get more participation from that.
Yes,
that
and Derek,
community.
it was not me, it was Losito who mentioned.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. But
yeah,
I'm
crazy
in
notes.
I live in District 3, so I want to do the same thing. But I
Yes.
need some public announcements from the district and not just me saying, hey, thank you. Yes.
And when you say public announcements, do you mean like pamphlets, like an
No, no.
email to you with a PDF,
So
or?
right now, what Bob is going to do will, if we see something on Facebook, then it gets shared and blah, blah, blah. And I know other organizations in, all over West County. Latina Center is one of them, yes, but we have a bunch of others.
That's great.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have one last comment from Linda Ruiz Luzito. Linda?
Oh, hi. Yeah, I was in contact with, I was going to say, I've been in contact with the Latina Center. So I'll contact her. She wants to know what's going on with it. She's very interested in the school district politics. So
Thank you.
sure. And I want to just thank you for being transparent on all this. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Linda.
Any further comments from commissioners or public on this item?
I do
Seeing
not.
none? Was there someone else?
No, sorry, I was going to say I do not see any other hands. Sorry about that.
No, perfect. Thank you, Bobby. Seeing none, then I am going to adjourn our meeting at 8:23. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, July
Wait a minute.
27th at 6:30 p.m. And we hope to get more community engagement. And thank you all for attending.
Thank you very much.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.